What's good, y'all? My name is Dylan Green, and this is Real Notes, a space dedicated to blurring the cultural and artistic lines between rap and film. I'm here to chop it up with everyone from rappers and producers to journalists and video directors about their relationship to movies and how, if at all, film inspires their craft. My guest this week is Florida-born rapper-producer Liiight. We spoke about Don't Look Up, B-Movie, Cowboy Bebop, dubstep, brief histories of Young Lean and the Sad Boys, Lucki, and Childish Gambino, how Lupe Fiasco's Kick Push changed their life, giving your all while recording, and the creative process behind their latest projects, Dwunk and Blacklight. Come fuck with us.
Since we're recording, I want to preface this by saying I just did 2.2 grams of shrooms, and I'm about halfway into a can of Steel Reserve that's been sitting in my room for 3 days. That's how we living, baby.
See, nah, bro, it's 6:20, like 6:20 on a Wednesday. That's what that's all that says to me, and that's fine, you know. The day is over. You do what you want, son.
Real.
I love it. Well, what's cracking? Welcome back. Real Notes still pushing it along. We're back in the swing of things. I'm feeling less awkward about being around a mic again. Things are pretty tight, you know. I can't really complain. It's Dylan Green, CineMasai, man, person, they, them, he, him type shit. I do a lot of things and I get lost in that sometimes. But you know, we're here and we got somebody really fucking dope on the other end. You know, they just got finished doing the shrooms and shit just to, you know, take the edge off after a hard ass day. And they make hard ass music and are into hard ass movies. And yeah. Nah, I don't even know what I'm doing. But please let's welcome Liiight with 3 eyes. Liiight with 3 eyes. Don't forget it.
With 3 eyes on the stage, just 1 eye if you're talking to me in person. It's all good. We normal
all
people
right.
here.
Nah. Yeah, okay, cool. I feel like an asshole. But nah, bro, thank you for coming on. I appreciate you.
Man, thank you for having me. Like, I know niggas say that, but really thank you for having me. This is my first podcast. This is my first little artist affirmation here.
I'm happy to do it. You know, it's like I told you, like we're gonna get into it later, but you know, like I really came and like tapped in with your shit last year and just like really connected with some of it. With what I you know, like I haven't heard everything, but just like the stuff that I've been, the stuff that I was with.
It's okay.
Right. No, it's all good. You know, everybody puts out a lot. That's just the world we live in. And I think that's great. It could be overwhelming, but it's all just like there and shit, you know? And yeah, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't remember if we connected before this, but I think you and I like first started talking when we met in the Overcast Discord server, right? Or did we talk before and I'm just forgetting?
It could have been. I was very active in the cast server. I was actually a mod, so it's quite possible that it was there, but I don't remember. Like, Overcast server spans such a long time, it's hard to remember what's before, what's after, you know, like,
right.
I just consider like interactions at any point kind of like the same thing. But yeah, that's probably accurate. Like, I remember following you before that just because like you're doing write-ups on some of the homies and they retweet it and I was like, oh yeah, this is good writing. Like, this is real thoughtful shit.
I appreciate it. I don't remember where I first saw Dwunk pop up on my timeline, but as soon as I saw it, I saw the cover and I was like, yeah, no, I gotta run this shit. And I did, and I was like, fuck. Yeah. Like it really
shout out to Shay. She had people going crazy with that one. Cheyenne, man, real nice.
Right.
She did Blacklight too. Well, I took the picture for Blacklight like a while ago, and then she did the like the little mascot for me.
Right. It looks beautiful. She did amazing on both covers. Like, shout out to her for
great,
real,
man. She's crazy. Every time she posts some shit, I just be kind of stuck for a minute. Like,
yo, and I'm thinking about it. That and like that really was. I saw somebody share the cover and tag her, and then I was like, just off the strength of that, I gotta hear it. And you know, like cover art will really do it every time. Like people say that shit, but like it really still works, I think, to me. Like,
nah, it definitely does.
Yeah, for real. So let me ask you the question I ask everybody who comes on here. What was the last movie or TV show that you watched that you had a strong opinion about?
Oh man. Oof. So last TV show I watched. Currently I'm watching Superstore. I just started season 2.
Mm-hmm.
Um feel good about it. It's not spectacular by any means. I watched Devious Maids right before this. Um
How's
it was
that?
okay. It's just a little high quality soap, you know. Uh it's got some nice vibes to it, but they canceled it before like on a crazy cliffhanger, and so I'm kind of mad. Like a crazy cliffhanger, because like everything is kind of like, it's soapy, but it's like,
Yeah.
nah, it was a crazy cliffhanger. Like I was watching this with somebody and I was texting her like, yo, there's not another season, like it's not coming, and we just kind of like panicked for a bit. We're like, what? But like, where did she go? Like, what happened? um I don't know, like strong feeling. Abbott's hella good. She actually just texted me. It was like, yo, the new episode of Abbott, but we got to watch it right now.
Like I was thinking about it earlier because I saw the clip of Quinta being surprised by Jimmy Kimmel with her high school teacher that she named
Oh
that she named the school after. So like
yeah.
I haven't started it yet, but I think I might actually do it tonight.
No,
I've
it's
been
good shit.
slacking.
It's good shit. I don't know. What was the last movie I watched? Last movie I watched, definitely, because I was watching it and I thought about this coming up, is Don't Look Up.
How'd you like Don't Look Up? Because I've been hearing crazy shit about it.
I've definitely read into people who are like, it's absolute shit. But I think it's really weird. Like, I feel like a lot of who I am comes from like the perspectives in which I take things, right? And
Yeah.
so from my perspective, I didn't take it too seriously from the jump. I expected it to be funnier. So I think that really left room for like everybody's criticism that I've heard stems from like oh, it's just some like really weak social commentary, which I agree. It is pretty like weak social commentary. It's like a clear divide, no nuance to it at all. But I
Right.
think it's okay. It's a white liberal version of sorry to bother you.
See, that's the vibe I got because I had seen some clips and I heard that Jennifer Lawrence starts the movie out rapping Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with in the camera, and I
Yeah,
was like, I don't need to see that. I'm good. Like I get it.
yeah.
White people are corny. Like I get it. you know, like
No, I mean, for me, it was more of a cinematic thing. Really, I really love the use of L cuts. I'm a fiend for L cuts, and there's
mm,
plenty of them in that movie. And there's a lot of use of even like stills. Um, like they'll just slap a still in, like in moments where they get really tense, they'll just like flash in stills, and like not even in a way that's like, oh, stop motion. Like, nah, it's just completely different shots, just still, still, still. And they'll go
yeah.
back and they'll do some like slow mo and still. I'm like, okay, yeah, now this is some great like cinematography, some great editing.
Damn, that's hard. Like, see now, real quick before we move on, tell the people who might not know what an L cut is, because that's real like film language shit.
I Yeah.
Like,
So an L cut refers to think of it visually as you're editing your film, right? And you have two separate tracks. You've got the track up top, which is your video. You got the
yeah,
track down below, which is your audio. So when you do an L cut, it takes the shape of an L, meaning you start off a video with the corresponding audio, and then you slap in another video, but you leave that same audio going. So it takes the shape of an L inside the editor.
yeah, that's so hard. Like it's kind of like I mean, like it's not really all. Well, I mean maybe it is a little similar because I always think about I always think about like diegetic and non-diegetic sound.
Yeah.
It's like not exactly the same as like a L cut, but like it's kind of like it plays with perspective in that way because like diegetic sound is, for people who might not know, like that's like sound that comes from a source that you can see on the camera, and then non-diegetic sound is a sound that comes from a source you can't see on the camera. I think that
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that's like the film studies shit that always sticks out in my head whenever I'm watching anything. I'm like, that's non-diegetic sound, and most people are just like,
Yeah.
nigga, shut the fuck up, like like, like but no, that's hard though. I'm gonna give Don't Look Up a try at some point. I've been putting it off for as long as I possibly can. Like I'm
Yeah,
sure someone's gonna, yeah,
I don't think it's a must by any means. You know what? At points, the points that I really like just feel like a Planet Earth like documentary.
hmm.
That's what it is. It feels really like that clean, like super clean look, everything captured in frame. and then you just
Right.
hear the voice still coming in, and it's like, yeah, this is soothing, right? But all the elements I felt they were trying to incorporate, I've seen them incorporated better.
Right. Yeah, no, that makes complete sense. And it really did like what I saw of it really did remind me of Sorry to Bother You, which I really, really enjoyed.
I love that shit.
Yeah, like it's um like I have thoughts about some of the things that Boots Riley does sometimes. So that's a real fantastic movie. I fuck with that movie a lot. Like,
God, film directors are terrible people.
yeah. But they like the beautiful thing about movies and really all art in general is that most of the time once they give the art up, it's kind of just like ours in a
Yeah,
way.
exactly.
Like it is and it isn't. It's weird. You can just kind of like, I like to think of it as like the stuff that the thing made you feel is yours, and you don't have to attach that to anybody's bad behavior. Like the actual like content and whether or not you want to watch it is a completely different conversation. I wrestle with that shit all the time. But like the stuff that it makes you feel and it makes you think about, like that's yours, and you don't have to let somebody's bullshit ruin that for you unless you want to, or unless it really does. It's all circumstantial, and there's levels and degrees, but you know
Yeah, I think it becomes like so much as somebody was just talking about Tarantino films on the timeline, but like to a point where you feel like the director's personality is ingrained into the actual film that you kind of gotta like, okay, I can't necessarily shake this, you know? Like it gets a bit
yeah.
harder to shake when I feel like it's them speaking through their movie as much as it is just like some artistic creation.
Right. Yeah, and that's when the whole tourism thing comes into mind, because because like there are plenty of directors who don't really have that voice, and they just like make the movie, and that's fine. But
Mhm.
like that's the dangerous tightrope act that comes with being an auteur that way. Is like you just like if you're wilding a little too much in either direction, it's gonna feel much more like a personal statement than it would from somebody like I can't even think of somebody who's like not like Anton Fuqua. I don't know, like the guy who made like Training Day and like The Equalizer
Yeah.
and shit. Like he makes like all his movies are kind of similar, but I don't really know that he has like a voice in the way that
Yeah.
like a Tarantino does, you know?
Yeah. You can have a very similar like artistic style, but if it's not too, I don't want to say distinctive, right? But like if it's not too loud, you know, it doesn't. Yeah.
No, yeah, totally. Um, so I like obviously you have a more solid base with film than most. What's the first movie experience you can remember having? Like it could be, at the theater, your cousin's house, fucking
This is
Best
gonna
Buy.
be
Like, yeah.
this is gonna be hilarious. Okay, so the most solid like first movie experience I remember is the fact that my little cousin, so mind you, I was born in Miami, so I was living in Miami at the time, so I'm probably like
Yeah.
5, 6. My little cousin is like 2, 3 years younger than me, so she's like 2 at this time. She would not let us stop watching the B movie. So I recall watching the B movie on loop for at least a solid month. Like
Yeah.
just nothing but B movie, bro.
Yeah. So do you remember what you thought about B movie when you first? That's so funny to me because it's not like I can't detach it from all the memes in my head. Like
No,
that's
and
the only
that's
reason it
literally why it's
exists.
so hilarious to me because like I just think about it and I'm like B movie. Like
So
it like especially when the meme was like entire B movie script and I'm like not this again. Like
I
the
don't even
vivid
remember like
flashback.
yeah, I don't even remember what the movies are like. Like all I remember is that the humans are humaning and like the
No,
pollen's all going away or some shit, and
I
he's
watched it
like,
that like not too long ago and it's actually a very solid movie.
mm-hmm.
Like I'm not gonna lie to you. It's like say whatever you will about Jerry Seinfeld, however you feel about his comedy, but like it's a good movie, right? It's about Barry the Bee Benson, who's just like, I don't want to do with all what all the other bees do. I want to go outside. He goes outside and he sees like, whoa, they're stealing our honey. And he's like, we got to do something about this, right? So it becomes now at this point, it's a workers' right, a social justice film,
Yeah.
and then it becomes like, whoa, you think this was like a Jewish allegory, allegory?
In what sense?
You think at some point he was just kind of like, he just kind of felt like the work of the Jewish people was like undermined and discredited and like
I mean, maybe. I never thought about it like
now I got to
that.
go back and do a critical analysis of the B movie,
Oh,
bro.
oh no. Yeah, yeah, I'm not Jewish, so I can't really, I can't really speak
No,
on that, but
but
that's yeah.
it's really weird because I was just having this conversation about somebody who was previously engaged to a Jewish person, and
Hmm.
so like we were talking about like because like I have like pretty much zero like experience with like Jewish culture, but they were telling me like their experiences with it and just kind of like how they noticed that gender roles playing into it because we talked about gender roles too,
Yeah.
but it's so crazy. We were just having this conversation about like our perspective of like what we've seen from Jewish culture and like we expect from it. And we were talking about how like every other religion who has like God is the top dog is kind of like really hopeful, right? Like Baptists and whatnot, they're like, oh, God loves us, God has this for us. But they were saying
Right.
like in their experience that like Jewish people were still like just very fearful of God. Like they were still very like almost in a dreadful state of like, no, like we can't fuck up and he will be mad at us, like
Right.
it
Yeah,
was it
because
was weird.
yeah, it is like from what I understand, like a lot of that stuff is still very much like they're dealing with like Old Testament God, and he
Yeah,
was
yeah,
an Old
exactly.
Testament God was on some other shit, like I don't want to, I don't
So
want
yeah,
to, I don't want to talk. Yeah, like I'm obviously not an expert, but that's just
yeah,
like
no,
from
no,
what
no, definitely,
yeah.
definitely no expert at all. I do gotta see if I got Jewish homies now because I'm very curious. I like,
with
I
with
need
B
to see.
movie.
Well, yeah, now I gotta compare it to the B movie too. Like, is this a common like fear? Like, or is Jerry Seinfeld really just on some workers' right shit?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean like I feel like the 15 or 20-year anniversary's got to be coming up, so somebody's got to ask him. That's I'd
God,
never literally never thought about that shit before. So I don't know. But
this is
wow.
what it's like to talk to Light. Yeah.
God damn. So like as you get older and you start you really start digging into this shit the way that you already are.
Mhm.
What like was there a movie that kind of made you fall in love with movies in like a not even just in like an artistic way, but just like a deep appreciation, like I like this shit more than just a thing to do or to like have on in the background type shit.
It wasn't even movies. I religiously rewatch Cowboy Bebop.
Mm,
Probably at least 4 times a year,
wow.
like religiously. Because I started off with Bleach, and I found Cowboy Bebop, and I was like, this is so much more my speed. And then it finished, and I was like, but why? And I was like, but like, yeah, I don't need more, but why? And so
Yeah.
like, I was like, I can just rewatch it, and I have ever since. It's been
Like,
like
man,
7 or 8 years now.
that's so crazy. I'm also doing a Bebop rewatch right now because I just remembered it was on Netflix and I just decided to I think I'm like 6 or 7 episodes deep. I think the last one I saw was I can't remember the last one I saw, but I can talk about my favorite moment on the whole show is when fucking in the I think it's in the third or the fourth episode when they're trying to bust down the casino, and
Mhm.
Spike and Faye have that moment when they're on the outside of the spaceship, and they just kind of like look at each other and they go like, hey, da da da, and he's like,
Mhm.
hey, da da, like just like and like with the fucking music, that's just like it's just like this is what I live for. Like
Yeah.
that's art. Like it just like when I saw that again on my recent rewatch, I ran that shit back like 8 times. Like this is just sent chills
I'm
at my
not
spine in a beautiful way.
I'm a huge Ed fan actually. I'm very fond of Ed.
Ed is
So as you
great.
can imagine, I was very against them making a second season of the live action. Um, after having seen how they chose to portray it.
Oh, see, you know what's crazy? I didn't even get that far in the Netflix version, and I didn't think it was like as bad as everybody else thought it. It wasn't like great, but
Yeah,
I didn't like it enough to even make it. I think I might have made it like 2 episodes in and
you know
just
what's
gave
weird?
up.
I forced myself through it because I will watch bad TV. I will
Right,
watch
you
bad
know.
TV. I will watch bad movies. Like I saw the I've seen like both of the Death Note live actions. I've seen the
Oh
Full
shit.
Metal Alchemist live action. I've seen the
Oh
Bleach live
no.
action.
Why would you do that to not the Full Metal
Because
Alchemist?
you
No, that
I
was
feel like you
bad.
need an understanding of what's terrible too. I listen to some rap music that I think is terrible. I listen to some music I just think it's terrible because like I got to get an understanding of like, I feel like you need a
Yeah.
bottom line too.
No, I respect that. No, because I definitely do the same. I just the the live action Full Metal Alchemist is my threshold. Like I can't. That's like I'll watch anything, bro. But like that, I can't touch that. I'm like Brotherhood is too sacred to me. I can't do it.
Hey, look, that's very valid. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I did gripe through the whole like
Right?
Bebop live
Yeah.
action, but it's weird because towards the end, I was starting to accept it as like something new, right? Like I was like, okay, they've changed the stories, the set pieces look really nice. None of these characters are necessarily even the same. Like, what do you mean Jet Black has a wife and kids now? Like what?
Yeah, yeah, because I was watching it. It had been long enough since I'd seen the original joint that I forgot a lot about Jet Black, and I was like, did he always have a daughter? Like I was like, wait a second, that's not right.
And so everything was just throwing me off, and I was like, okay, whatever. But I began to accept it as like something new. I really didn't like Vicious. I really don't like his face.
Yeah, me either.
He just reminds me of a human Lord Farquaad.
Yeah, I can see it.
And what's weird is I saw him in something right after that. I forgot what it was. Um,
Mm.
oh, The Boys.
Oh man, see, I haven't. People have been yelling at me about it. I'm gonna start it at some
That
point,
shit is
but
great.
okay, okay.
But yeah, he's one of the main superheroes in The Boys too. But yeah, no, like I began to accept it, and I got to that final scene,
Yeah,
and it's the clip that circulated. That's the only time you see Ed, because Ed was not in the first season at all. That's how much they mixed
really.
up the story. Yeah, they mixed up the
Wow.
story so much that that's the only time you see Ed. So that clip that was circulating around was really the final clip,
Oh, that's okay. That
and so that was
sucks.
the
Oh
last thing I
no.
saw as the season ended, and I was like, oh hell no.
That's boof. No, stop. Oh, that's Ed is like I don't want to say he's like the heart of the show, but like he
And
like I feel like he's the heart of the show. Like how do you
yeah,
not have him in the first
he's the
season?
like most energetic part that kind of like he's more than just comedic relief, right? He's not like an Olaf, he's not like a side character. He's a part of the
Right.
main cast to the point where it's like every time he pops up, you find yourself smiling, even if you've been straight faced or like teary eyed through the whole dramatic ass show, right? And that's why I love Ed
Right.
because Ed's really just like important discoveries, like doing all the heavy lifting sometimes, but still with this like air that's completely different to everybody else. This is like
Yeah,
really free flowing, like it's okay.
cuz
And
like
so
how
like,
old Oh, sorry.
no good.
I was just going to ask how old is he supposed to be? He's like a
Uh
kid, right?
12 or 13 or some shit like that.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes
And it's
sense.
like, and so like, yeah, I get the energeticness, but like the way that one clip, no. And that's the last minutes. Literally, it cuts to credits after that.
That's dirty. See, I thought that happened like halfway through the season. Oh, that's
Mhm.
that
Yeah, no, they
that
mixed up the stories so much.
that left a bad taste in my mouth. I haven't even no, I saw the clip, but I haven't like
Yeah, I know
that
everybody
makes
saw the clip because that's where I saw it first, and I was waiting
that
for
makes
it
me
to happen. And then when I realized it was the final one, and that Ed wasn't even in the first season, like there was no chance of redemption.
That makes me feel
This
dirty.
is
And
terrible.
I really cape for the shit too, because I like the trailers they put out, like the one that was just
It
like
looked
them fucking
so
with.
good.
It looked crazy, but it
You're talking
just,
about the 3 panel one where they were just
oh
switching in between the panels?
yeah, I
Yeah.
love shit like that. Like I just but I got me so gassed, and then no, I made it like
I
two.
wasn't surprised.
I wasn't either, but I was hopeful. I feel like there's a difference between being hopeful and being surprised, and like I
Yeah,
was
what
just
surprised me was how much they switched up the story though. Like I really did. They basically wrote something completely new.
right. Yeah, it was like a, because I read a couple reviews and they were just like, yeah, they basically just like remixed a bunch of like greatest hits and
Yeah.
then added in a few new
Yeah.
things, and yeah, like they of course they gave Vicious like a whole new backstory, or at least like fleshed out the story that they
Yeah,
didn't
they
flesh
gave him
out
a
on the
fleshed
show.
out one and then like
Right.
married to Julia. Like,
Mm-mm.
yeah,
Yeah,
it
no,
just
and then they canceled it. I was just like, what? Ugh, like,
I was fine with that one, not gonna lie. Because
yeah,
then I
me
remember like
too.
reading the reviews from like there were even people in Japan who were like, yeah, I get it.
It just sucks because you could tell that the cast was like really giving it 110%, and like the visual aesthetic was super cool.
I
Like,
disagree.
ugh. Wait, with what?
I think John Cho was a terrible spy.
Tell me why. Tell me why you thought he was a terrible Spike.
He was I feel like, and I mean, don't get me wrong, because I'm often one to go, well, maybe that's how it was written, and they were just acting to the best of what was written for them, right? Because
Right.
like that's how I felt about. I might get crucified. How I felt about Killmonger. Um,
Michael B. Jordan.
bro,
That's fine.
and
That's fine. That's
I'm
fine.
not at all a Michael B. Jordan fan, but I was trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. Like maybe they just wrote him that way, but like, yeah, no. But
Yeah.
he was really dull. Like there was no charm to his Spike.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. No, I,
he
I
felt
can agree.
tired.
Yeah. Yeah. He definitely felt tired. He felt like, I want to say he kind of felt flat,
Yeah,
and like Spike is like level-headed and like to a fault a lot of the time, but like John Cho definitely felt kind of flat. And it's like I don't really know if he could, like, I feel like he had a hard time deciding whether he wanted to play it serious or play it funny. And like and like especially what the fuck is his name? Steve Bloom. Like
yeah.
he's just so good at playing that middle ground between serious and funny
I
as
feel
Spike.
like
Like,
that was the whole show, though. I feel like the whole show was like very confused on whether or not they wanted it to be. Did you see the edit somebody did on Twitter that was like the Seinfeld bass guitar over that one scene?
yeah. Yeah.
I was like, why does this work so much better?
Oh
Oh my
no.
god! And that's when I knew it was gonna be terrible.
Right. Like
It was
that.
like
And mm,
the dialogue felt so inhuman. It felt like you read a line, you read a line. It wasn't a conversation. It was just yeah. It was empty. It was way too much negative space.
right. And on top of that, like like I could tell just from the couple episodes I saw, like it was a tone problem too. Like, and
Mhm.
like Bebop is really one of those shows that really walks the line between being funny and being serious. And that's one of the things that I love about it so much. It's like not unpredictable, but it just, like, they got the balance right, and
Yeah,
like you could tell they knew exactly how they wanted this to go.
exactly.
And like you were saying with the live action joint, they had no idea. Like sometimes it was like way too silly, sometimes it was way too serious, and but
Yeah.
like
And
it's
that's why
just
I'm a
such a,
huge Shinichiro fan. Shinichiro was a great director, bro.
yeah. No, yeah,
Fucking
no.
Carolyn Tuesday. Oh,
I still haven't finished Carol and Tuesday. I made it
crazy, bro.
like I like it a lot. It's just, I get so caught up. I'm watching like six things at once, and
Nah, I
I
definitely
just
get that.
but no, Carol and Tuesday is super dope. Like obviously Samurai Champloo is super dope.
Classic.
That yeah, that's like
Shit,
that.
even I'm blanking on her name, but she worked with him on like Champloo and Bebop, but she did Michiko and Hatchin.
Oh yeah. Um, I can't remember her name either. Shit. Damn.
Did she also
I
do
don't know.
Yuri? Or am I thinking about somebody else?
I don't know. That's a good question. That's a good
Hmm.
question.
But yeah,
But
that's a great one too.
yeah, nah, like yeah, yeah, like yeah, Watanabe and his whole cabal of people. They always
Hmm.
do the thing. I'm excited to watch. He did. Was he involved in that Blade Runner thing that's happening on Adult Swim right now?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because
Yeah.
he's done a Ghost in the Shell like I think mini series or something before, and so I'm definitely excited for that one.
Ooh, okay. I've been meaning to jump back in with Kusanage and them. Yeah. Shout out to that was a nice healthy conversation about Cowboy Bebop. Like I don't know. I think we had maybe like one other. Yeah, nah, me and Morpheus. Shout out to Morpheus. We talked about Shampoo actually more, but just like nice healthy Shinichiro Watanabe talk. That's
I
thank
feel
you.
like I feel like I feel like Shampoo is definitely more popular amongst the hip hop heads.
Oh, absolutely. Like not even a question. And it's
Yeah.
crazy because like both of them are because like the seatbelt soundtrack on Bebop is just like
God,
uh just I can't even put into words how perfect that shit is. Like it just puts me in such a good mood every time I listen to it.
definitely.
Right. So sorry, brain lost. Um
No, it's all
what
good. I think the shrooms are trickling down, so I might be there with you soon.
so before I lose you, let's go to music. Like while you're on like while you're kind of building this vocabulary and understanding with the movies and shit. Like when did you first fall in love with music, or like when did you or like when did music first come into your life to the point where it like breached past just being a background thing?
Honestly, like I said, I'm from Miami, so I think music is always super important. I'm like three-fourths Bahamian, so
Hey.
music and drums are always super important, right? Like I remember being a jit going to like Battle of the Bands and always being like, those tenors sound crazy, those snares sound crazy. Going to like Gombe, Junkanu, man, and like of course every family function you got what you got Trick Daddy, everybody from Slip Slide. You got you got any mix like Beam Eye, Sticking and Rolling, all that, right? Bop, whatever dances, Superman, Spider-Man, the Wu-Tang, right? So I feel like dancing and music have always been like super important to me. But specifically on the tip of hip hop was the first time I heard Kick Push, um, I was like, I can rap. I can do that. It was too narrative, like I was like, yeah, I got it, I get it.
Right,
And
man. Like
that was the one for me.
that song changed so many lives. Like it definitely changed mine too. Like shit.
Hmm.
I just like yeah, just to I don't even know, just like the way he split the stories up, and and like the one thing that always got me is that like he didn't know how to breathe at that point. So like after every bar he'd be like like and that always killed me because I was like, he needs to learn to fucking breathe better, son. Like what is he doing? It sounds like he's
I'm a
drowning.
firm believer in rapping until you can't no more.
Right.
A lot of people close to me, if you ask them, bro, like in our toughest times, I'm like, bro, you just do what you do. Like you do what you can until you can't no more, right? And so I take that all the way to rapping because like some of my favorite homies, shout out Kobe, Trauma, um, and like I started rapping with them from Cash Court, and I was like, these niggas will go and go until they can't. Like these niggas will like pull that last bit of breath out just to get them last few words out, and then
Right.
right, and I'm like, that's real. Because even though Kick Push was the like entry for me, and it was because of the narrative, I've come into my own in a way of like just pure emotional demonstration. Because even though Lupe is very much I want to be the best rapper ever, and for the longest, right, I thought I wanted to be the best rapper too. But then I kind
Right.
of realized like when I write, I'm not sitting here like, oh, does this rhyme with that? Can I get some more internal rhymes in there? I'm really just I'm really just writing what I feel better than I can say it 99% of the time. So it becomes just this like show of emotion. It becomes like bearing some things that maybe I'm not even like fully conscious of at the time. And so I fully believe in like get out what you got to get out, even if you don't think you can get it out, even if you got to chop that bitch up, rearrange it, whatever you got to do.
Yeah. Yeah, a couple more punches. Yeah, I respect that a lot. I respect that a lot because that's how you know people like really love it and go hard for it. Like just that I just like you're right. You're right. Like I
In
always
fact,
just what
on Kick Push, Lupe said just the freedom was better than breathing. And
breathing
that's
they
what it
said,
is,
yeah.
right? You feel free. I get there, I lose it, right? I done cried on the mic. I done yelled on the mic. I done spit on the mic. I done everything, right? Just to
Right.
like, just to keep it real.
And that's hard, like that's like like even though I was just making fun of Lupe for fucking
Yeah,
breathing the way
nah.
he was breathing on that song, like not like that's like I feel like what you're talking about is like that's so important. And like that type of spontaneity really like like not everything needs to be like the most perfect clean like this is how it like like there's like I can't tell you how many times like there have been people who've just like either like intentionally or unintentionally just recorded something beautiful that like they didn't
Mhm.
intend to do, and then it was like nope, we're leaving that in, like fuck you,
No, definitely.
like
Blue. We actually did. That was a tape that kind of got me in front of Cash Court niggas. Black boys look blue in the moonlight. Of course,
mm,
inspired by Moonlight. Inspired by the play that inspired that. But we did that tape, and we were just talking about it. Because like they just started writing for real. So they just been producing, been DJing. And they were just like, I feel like I gotta like get it out. Like they just sending me verses. I'm like, bro, nigga, I hope you know I can't read these the same way you're writing them. Like this has been like sending me these long ass verses. Like, I can't read them the same way you're writing them. But like I appreciate the fervor. They're really like, I want to get back to that hip hop way of shit. And like me and Flowers, me and Michael, we've been talking
hey, shout
a
out
lot.
Flowers.
Yeah, big shout out. I told him I was doing this. I told him like me and you talked about it. He's, oh yeah, I'm gonna make sure that happens. I need to make sure that happens.
Yeah, and that's funny because we were we were doing a thing that I won't mention because he wants that to be a surprise. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, he mentioned, he was like, oh yeah, you gotta get Light on here. I was like, nah, I was like, nah, we already been talking, like we've been talking about this for a while. And but no, shout out to Mike forever, he's the best.
Yeah, big shout out Michael, man. Been a huge help these past few like 2-3 months for real. Maybe we'll get into some of that later. But
Hey,
yeah,
but
no, we
yeah,
were just
yeah,
talking about like RX nephew, RX Poppy. He's a huge fucking fan, right? And he's just
yeah.
like, we were talking about the idea of like you said earlier, everybody drops a lot. That's the environment we're in now. But just that style of like, originally, niggas go to a party and you hear some raps you never gonna hear again. But in this case, we're taking it to a digital front of like, maybe everything's not top quality recorded, even your best verse ever, but everything you put out is earnest and is real. Um,
Right.
just for the sake of saying, I'm not making this music for hits. I'm not making this music to chart or none of that shit. I'm just making it because I got to. Um, whatever I said, I had to say at that moment, and it's really what I felt.
Right. And it's crazy you just brought up Neff and Pat, because like yeah, I'm big on the RX wave too. And my
Mm-hmm.
homie Caleb, shout out to Caleb, he just sent me the Neff just dropped a new song on fucking I think yesterday called Cold Turkey. And like
Mm-hmm.
it came in and it sounds like some like Maybach music group shit. It's like disturbingly clean. Like his vocals are like really well mixed. I was like, I've never
Nah,
heard him
yeah, that
sound
man.
so like that shit really like threw me for a loop. I was like, why am I hearing you like in HD right now? It didn't feel right.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah,
I'm so used to like the American Terrorist shit, like the fucking
yeah, 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 yeah.
what's the joint that just came out? Fuck, what was it? I think it was the I Got Five Pairs of Amiri jeans, like that type of shit, and then just like it sound like this new shit sounds like Ross is gonna hop and you can hear the Maybach music. Like it shit really threw me for a loop. Like, but I love what they're doing, and I love how like especially like RX Poppy's that foreign exchange project he put out last year,
Yeah,
like really like maybe some of the rawest shit that he's ever recorded, you know, like just you could tell that he was like it's a difference between a song like West Side Benji from the Thousand Miles and Running, which is my favorite Poppy song ever, and then
yeah.
like a couple of the songs on Foreign Exchange is just like so raw and so
I
like
think I think
ugh,
my favorite one is what's that joint? Cousin Tito? The Cousin Tito? Yeah. Cause like I think
like
that was one of my first ones and I heard it and I was like, uh, is that Cousin Tito? It's the fucking my mama told me to pray to God. I looked at her and I said, for what?
yeah.
That joint right there? Oh
Yeah.
man. Every time I hear that shit, I just be like, yeah, yeah.
Like,
Like
yeah, like
it's
mm,
so real. It's so raw. Like
right, like
he didn't scratch shit out on that verse. He just wrote
right,
the verse. Maybe he didn't write the bitch. He just got in there and just, like it's too real.
right, yeah, yeah, because like he like punches in a bunch and shit too. But like I felt the same way listening to West Side Benji because like there's a bit like near the end where there's a bit near the end where like he's talking about like being on a bus and like robbing the bus driver and like robbing his he said he robbed the bus driver, he robbed his mother's best friend, he robbed his mother,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then
yeah. I know what
and,
you're talking about.
and then he said something about like, oh, like we'll never be that close again, sometimes I feel the walls are closing in, and like at like
Yeah,
in that little moment his delivery starts to speed up and like he's like coming in like ahead of the beat, so it's like you could tell that he's like getting shaken by that shit, and like that's just one like I love that about like the both of them, they both do stuff like that, and just like
yeah,
that's the
yeah.
type of shit that like you wouldn't get that from a clean recording, you wouldn't get that from like
Nah,
a, okay, I'm gonna
definitely
do it
not.
like this and this, and like
Sometimes
that's
you
just
gotta
raw
put the mic on and just let that bitch go.
for
That's how I
real.
did with I did box 1 through 3, and what happened was, um, I was in cash court. We were playing Among Us. This how like long ago that was, right?
Damn.
We were playing Among Us,
Throwback.
and I was just kind of sitting up, and I did like I had like moved to Georgia like Georgia. I moved to Virginia from Georgia like a month or two ago. Stand like
Right.
still here, standing at my pop's house. Um, and I was just like, man, what the fuck am I doing? Like, um, it was crazy. So like the December before that, I was living with my boyfriend, and we some shit happened. He got really sick. He had to move away, and then and so like we broke up. I moved back in with my mom's. And mind you, whole time I moved out when I was 18, moved back in still 18.
Damn.
So like yeah, going through it, and then like so that January, February, and then March Corona hit, and so I was out of work then. I was kind of sitting around, and we went back to work. Just it was like slow, and then me and my mom's got into it on some shit, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna just move my pop. So I moved up here, and so this guy would be like what June, March, May, something like May, yeah, end of May. So then June, July, I'm just kind of like sitting around in here. Then I dropped Black Boys Look Blue in August, which was just like a culmination of some shit. I started like really rapping over quarantine, and then like it was then I'm in cash court. I'm sitting around. I'm like, yo, I think I'm gonna do some acid. And so I popped one tab. I looked up and I was like, this is back when I was the king of the double dose, right? I would always like, I'm gonna take a double shot. And so I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna do another tab. I took another tab and it started hitting me, and like they talking to me, and like I had just got killed in Among Us, and I was like, you know what, y'all, it's my last game. I'm gonna go ahead and get in bed. And so I lay down and I proceed to not sleep for like the next like 10 hours.
Damn.
And I'm just like tossing and turning. I went through some crazy shit. Like I thought I was gonna lose my mind at one point. I was like sticking, bro. I was going through it. And then like I remember like calming down a bit. And then I went to go eat and I saw like the sun coming up. So like I'm looking out the window, but it's like I'm still kind of high. So I'm like, I can't go just like lay in the grass. I'm gonna look crazy. And so I was like, all right, fuck it, I'm gonna make some music. And so I threw on a few beats. I made a beat, chopped up some shit, and I just kind of went at it, right? Like, uh, I probably couldn't even like remember those lyrics off the top of my head. I had to like run them back and be like, okay, yeah. Because it was
Right.
just like, I'm just in that moment of like, I don't know where I'm at in life. Shit just collapsed in on me, and now I'm like back to square zero, and I've been sitting in square zero for months. And I was like, oh, I guess square one is get a job. Worst decision of my life.
Oh man. But
But
hey,
it
at
was good
least
music.
yeah, I was about to say at least some good music came out of it. Like
No, most definitely.
like that's you can't really well, I was gonna say you can't really ask for more than that, but you totally can ask for more than that,
No, you definitely can't. But
bread is cool. Bread is
shit was
cool.
happening like just last night, and I was telling my partner, I was like, look, I know like it sucks to go through shit, but sometimes you really gotta look up and be like, I really wouldn't have been right here in this situation talking to somebody who cares if I didn't go through that. Right. Like
Mm-hmm.
if I didn't go through that breakup, then I didn't move back into my mom's crib and really just start making music every day. Then I didn't drop Black Boys Look Blue. Then I didn't get in cast court and like have niggas looking at me. And I didn't even make drunk. Like you see what I'm saying? Like if I
Yeah.
didn't go through that breakup, then I don't even become an alcoholic to the point of having to make drunk.
Right. Oh man. Wow. I wanted to save this for later, but since we're here now, I want to talk about it. Like let's talk about Dwunk, because like I said before, that was my first introduction to you. And I
Mm-hmm.
really just like sat with it a couple of, because it's nice and short. I sat with it a couple of times and just like, especially now, like re-listening to it today, like preparing for
Mm-hmm.
this, like, like it hit me different than it, like I just really, like I saw everything that was going on, but it just like hit me even more like, wow, this is just like you're just telling this story about like a really just like blurred, warped, fucked up night. And like walk and just like walk me through like what was it like making this, like why did you decide to tell this story this way, because I don't know that I've ever seen an album kind of, or like a project or whatever kind of like play out like this before.
Okay, so first I want to say this is really why I appreciate your writing because I often feel like one, it's hard for me to like communicate these ideas that I haven't put down artistically, right, to people. And so like even in like relationships, like friendships, like romantic, whatever it is, I always
Right.
end up feeling like it's hard for me to truly express like what I mean, right, in a way that people get it. And so then when I put it in the music, I'm just like, damn, I pray people see like the threads I was kind of weaving together. And so when I saw your writing, and I was like, nah, he sees it, like he gets it. And so like I'm very appreciative of your keen eye, your keen ears. Um, but it's
I appreciate you, Brody. Thank you.
niggas is gonna hate me for this too, but it was so in the moment that the shit just comes together, right? Like at one point I ventured out to call myself a vignette artist, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
capturing these small moments, these small areas of my life, but it's so lived in that like it just kind of weaves itself together. It has to be real, like it. How do I explain it? It's just I was actively drinking, just like entirely too much. And I was explaining the flowers when we first started talking recently, and it was just about my whole year of releases last year was kind of like a mirror of the year before it. So to say that around that time in February, the year before when I dropped it, so last year I dropped it 2021. So in
Yeah.
2020, I was fresh off a breakup, about to enter pandemic, just kind of working, doing like dish pit. I was working in dish pit, so I would like get there like 4 and I wouldn't leave till like 1 in the morning sometimes. And my friend, she lived like right up the street from me. And so like I just like get a ride to her crib. We get there. She's like, we got Jose Cuervo. We got Henny. Da, da, da. And I was like, fuck it, let's go. Like, like I just be crossfaded the whole time. And then I would just get a ride home, like another 5 minutes right up the street. And that's eventually like what me and my mom got into it about. And so there's those moments on the album, especially the outro, or the last vocal track, at least, where I'm like, I know my mom was gonna be mad at me because that's what it was. My mom like it got back, and my parents, or at least my mom, my stepdad, are like super Christian. Um,
Mm.
I come in the house high, I come in the house crossfaded, and And I'm like, oh, like, so it became an issue. And I mean, that's all it was. It was literally just like trying to retell those experiences to the best of my like conscious ability, right? I feel
Yeah.
like there's only so conscious you can become before your music starts to sound pretentious, right?
Yeah.
But there's
It's
a
real
good
easy.
amount of like, yeah, there's a good amount of like illusion and self-awareness that allows you to be a clear communicator, even if the person you're communicating to is yourself,
Right. But you
right?
also
So
want to be able to like seem like a person and not like you're talking down to anyone, especially not yourself,
no,
you know?
exactly, right? And so it
Yeah.
was coming back and realizing like, no, I did have fun in it, right? And I wasn't just like, if there were moments of sulking and like, nah, my nigga, you should have done better. But it was just a lived in experience. I literally would just for like I don't even know how long that was. That's how blurry it was.
Mm.
Um, I started like day drinking at one point because buddy came to work one day and we was in dish pit. We used to have like 3 dishwashers some night. And so
Mm-hmm.
he came in, he had a bottle, and he's like, yo, want some of that? And I was like, tea? Nah, I'm good, bro. And he was like, oh no, that's Jim Beam. And
No, no.
I was like, huh? It's like, okay. So I took a sip, and then I remember just being like, it's cool. I feel a little warm. I feel a little giddy. It's cool. And then had this one homie. She would just call me about Henny. Caught the Henny, started mixing it with the Minute Maid lemonade we had at work.
Mm.
Wraps, right? And so I'd be sipping the whole night in dish pit. And then I take my cup home with me just because, like, I got to drink. I'm taking everything, my drink, my food. And I wake up in the morning, after you done drank, you thirsty as hell. So I wake up and I'm like, ooh, a cup. And then lean over and be like, oh, nigga, that's Hennessy at 9 a.m. in the morning.
Like,
And so it became this like just this full ass cycle of being drunk as hell at all times, like being some amount of faded. And it was just, yeah, it was just lived
yeah.
in.
Right. Nah, it definitely feels it, like it almost reminds me of like you ever read the book or see the movie Inherent Vice?
No.
So I think the book was written by a guy named Thomas Pynchon. It's about
Okay.
this oh, I think bro is a see this shows you how much I remember and like how the kind of like it kind of like it kind of works with the book to not remember a lot about. It's a weird thing, but like I think he's like either like a detective or like a journalist or something, and he's just like on acid a bunch of the time, and like he just like has like little like misadventures, like there's a story, but like the general vibe is like this guy who's trying to figure out what the fuck is going on is on some sort of drugs, and he's just
Yeah.
like meandering all over the place, and like
Yeah.
and I saw the movie. It was made into a movie. Paul Thomas Anderson directed
Okay.
it, and I think Joaquin Phoenix was in it. And I went to go
Oh,
see the movie
damn, that
because I
sounds
was
crazy. I know that's
it,
got to
it
be good. I got to watch that now.
so now I got a funny story. I got a funny story movie for you. So I went to go see the movie, and I was real tired that day for some reason. I think I made it about a quarter of the way through, and I fell asleep. And I
Mhm.
woke up like as the movie was about to end,
Okay.
and um the credits roll maybe like 10 minutes later. And I went and like read the synopsis when I got home, and I was like, okay, so I feel like I would have gotten as much from this movie if I was awake that I did when I was asleep, like not even not even in a bad way. It's
No,
just
no,
that
no. I
type
get
of
you.
movie,
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
and like, but I say all that to say that's the experience that I got listening to Dwunk. Like it's just kind of like it feels
Yeah.
lived in to the point where like it's happening whether or not you're listening to it, which is like
Nigga, you about to make
with
me cry
yeah.
because that's literally all I want, right? I want
Man.
when Cuddy said soundtrack to my life, I took that so literally. I make the music that feels and sounds like exactly what I'm saying, right? Like,
Yeah.
like I started off with YouTube instrumentals. So I just pick an instrumental and I'm like, what does this sound like? What am I about to rap about? Right. And then that's how I write my verse. Um, and for Drunk, shout out to Sid, shout out to Soju, man. Listen, crazy on every single beat. Did not fucking miss, my nigga. Did not miss. And there were some that she sent me and I wrote full songs to. And she was like, nah, I don't like that beat. I'm like, What do you mean? Like, y'all didn't even get the full arsenal. Like, I'm telling you, there was some crazier shit. And I was just like, yeah, let me get the stems. Let me just make the drums hit harder a little bit. Like, let me do this. But like every time, every time, I was like, man, you crazy. You're crazy. I would just tell her like, oh yeah, but I feel like we need one more up tempo, just kind of a little angry or kind of like this, da da da. She hit me right back 2 3 days later, perfect, in the pocket, and that's how it came together. And so it wasn't even this like sit down, have a session, okay, pick that sound. No, she was just sending me beats and I was going off of it. And so like I always try to weave a story in between that, right? I try to like sequence things to the best of my ability, transition, make sure the mixes are tight and everything. But shout out to Soju, man. She my fucking saving grace on that one. Everybody involved was like instrumental. I know I was the nigga rapping, but everybody involved was instrumental. Um,
Right.
and
No,
that's
that
that's
felt.
how that's how I like it to be. I like it to all feel lived in. I like it to feel like you can put this on and you can get lost in it, or you can put it on to match exactly how you're feeling or some shit. Cause like
Right.
that's all it is for me. It's therapy for real.
Right. Nah, like it's a mood piece. That's what
Mm-hmm.
I like about it. It's like really like that's even what I mean when I say like it feels like it's happening regardless of whether or not you're listening to it. Like there's certain projects that I'll go to that it's like, okay, like this is a thing that'll be happening when I listen to it, and then I won't think about it when it's gone. But it's like, like you stop, like I stopped listening to Dwunk and it's like, oh, like the next day is probably happening. Like you ever listen to music that makes you think about like what's happening the next day after the events of it happen, on some like next episode type shit.
I'm so glad
Like
you said that because um let me you ever seen what the fuck did they do? Damn Internet You Scary, Patrick Cloud to hear more from
yeah, yeah, yeah,
ADD.
yeah.
And you know how they're always like infatuated with their segues. So
Yeah.
this is a perfect segue into I was saying I might talk about it later. But on the DL on the hush hush, right? Just for the whole podcast to know is uh I've just been working on this next project and it's that idea of like I want it to feel really almost sequential but still kind of hazy. It's just about it's a day by day thing, right? It changes
Yeah.
day by day simply because I'm steadily recording new things and my ideas based on the project are simply changing. But I also plan to accompany it with a short film. So
Ooh, all right.
yeah. So I'm hoping that even though the album and the short film will be technically separate pieces, they will interact in some ways. But I'm just hoping that it flows the same.
Yeah, I mean, I
Definitely
can't
that
wait.
like I want you to be able to hear a song and be like, oh, I remember the next scene in the movie.
Right. Because that's man, I'm happy. See, I'm happy you brought that up because now I can segue back to a question I wanted to ask before about the relationship between rap and movies. Like, was there was there a moment where you do you remember the moment where you first consciously linked film and music together in that way that you're talking about right now?
I think I've always seen it visually, but like I said, Kick Push was my first like real like hip hop moments. Like, of course, it gives you that pure visual of okay, he's outside, he's skating. Sometimes, and that one at some points feels more like home movies. It feels like a skate clip, right? It
Right.
feels
Yeah.
like it feels like he's outside, he's skating. Oh, he did a kickflip on the curb. Oh, his neighbors are chasing him away. Oh, he met up with his crew and they're all doing tricks. So like it gives you that skate clips vibe. But yeah, I think um my way of sequencing projects has always been in a similar way to what's it called? What's the plot diagram? You know what I'm talking about? Rise in action,
Shit.
climax.
Yeah. Fuck. I know exactly which I don't
Yeah,
remember what
yeah,
it's
yeah.
called.
But
See.
it's it's always been in that similar way of either directly. Well, okay, originally it was just like in that, right? I had this early project, my nigga. I don't even remember doing this project. That's how crazy it is. But it's not
Damn.
even like I wasn't even high or anything. It was a completely lucid project. What was it? Doing the most but getting the least. I think it's only on SoundCloud. Um, and it's just a few songs, but I remember like I was just putting songs together, and I was like, I feel like I was probably just doing it just to do a project. I was in like 11th grade or some shit. No, I had to be like 10th grade because I didn't come here 11th grade. And but it was just I was like, okay, let me sequence it in a way that's like, okay, slow song, ramping up, climax, and come back down, you know? And so like that was my original like plan, was just to kind of like plot it out in this way that was like structural. But then as I started watching more movies and started like to dissect them like piece by piece, I kind of understood that you could do more than just like that simple plot pattern, right? And
Right.
so and that's kind of how I get to like Drunk and everything. Because Drunk is kind of almost a single story, a story that never technically happened, right? Because I never had a big party. I've never been to like a big party with that little interlude that I did,
Right.
or at least not in not one that corresponds with that story. Because I don't fucking throw up. I'm not a pussy. But uh but like I just tried to like cue it. Like I had this movie kind of plotted in my head. You know what I think ruined me is because the internet. I've read it along with the with the fucking the script so many times.
My son, me
Um,
too.
yeah,
That's my
I think
favorite.
that's what ruined me because I always see it along with visuals. And I've never really had the means to like pair them, but I've
Yeah.
always, at least my own personal projects, I've seen them along with visuals.
Man, see, this is something that I'm surprised has never come up on the podcast before. Like we've never talked about because the internet and that specific thing. Yeah, I remember when the fucking album came out
I
and
love that shit.
yeah, like the whole like not even just the script, but like the website that he put out that had
Learn the
the
code.
oh my god, like that was like I had never seen no shit like that before. I was in college when that came out because yeah, I was about to I think that was my last year before I was about to graduate.
Mhm.
And yeah, I just like I went to the shows with the homies and like it was just like just seeing that come together. That album holds a very special place in my heart. I love that
Yeah,
album.
yeah.
I love the rollout and the execution and just like the music, of course. Like it's just it
It's
was
definitely mad influential for me.
mm, like
These strings are hitting right now.
like like and just like the way you're describing it, like I can tell that it really had an impact on you. I yeah, like I remember my partner who I'm still with, which is
Mhm.
so cool. And one of my best friends, Adam, shout out to Adam. We all went to go see Gambino play the Deep Web tour when he was
Mhm.
touring the album. And like at the thing, I'm not sure if you went to any of the shows, but he had this thing where like you could download an app and like draw pictures in the app and it would show up on the screen like in the back and shit. And then like that turned into something completely different during the show and it was kind of like interactive but not really, and just like
Yeah, yeah,
he
yeah.
he just found a really cool way to kind of like make it a movie but at a concert. I don't know, I
Yeah,
just fucked with it a lot.
definitely say what you will about Gambino, but
Yeah,
it's
there's a
weird.
lot to
I
say, like don't get
There's
me
a
wrong,
lot to
there's a
say.
lot to say.
My favorite thing recently has been the fact that he has willed himself into a sex symbol. Like
Son, yo, talk about it.
he
Talk
willed
about
himself
it.
into a sex symbol. Like all the way from Sick Boy, he was talking real raunchy, and then like 10 years later, he took his shirt off and started dancing like Phalo on stage, and they were like, "Oh,
With the dad bod and shit, like he really,
that's what
yeah,
did it. That's what brought it all together." The dad bod and the beard got away with
yeah,
it.
man,
Smooth criminal.
like yeah, he really like it's because yeah, I was tweeting about this. I tweeted about this a couple times last year, and it kind of caught that viral tailwind a couple times. Just like
Uh, yeah,
he had some pretty crazy shit to say on some of those early songs, and like some of those songs are just bad. Like I'm
no,
sorry,
definitely.
most of Sick Boy is a bad project. Most of
It's terrible.
Poindexter is bad. Like
If
there's
you look
good
at that
songs.
name,
Like
it's see what I find, especially as I continue to go back, is that a lot of the early blog era shit is actually terrible. Like
woo.
like
Yeah.
influential as it may have been, it is
Yeah.
terrible. Right? Like
Mm-mm.
I love Young Lean with all my heart, right? And I'm never one to idolize people. I'm never one to like put anybody above anybody. Like niggas in
Right.
group chats get mad at me because I'm definitely like, bro, why are you sending that in here? It's just a nigga. Like, you know people who make music better than this.
Right.
And But like Ginseng Strip 2002, terrible song.
Yeah,
Absolutely horrendous.
garbage. I'm not gonna lie, I hated Young Lean when he first came out. I
I loved
appreciate
it.
like I appreciated everything that the Sad Boys were doing at that, and let me jump back. There were songs on that first album that I really 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 enjoyed, because like I'm big, I was big on that cloud rap shit, but I was also
Yeah,
like, like Clams Casino kind of beat him to it.
definitely true.
It was all just like, oh, like this is what Clams did, but he's just like some, he's just like a
Swedish nigga.
Swedish. Yeah, there you go. I was gonna say Scandinavian, but I guess that's technically right. I think Swedish. I think Sweden is Sweden Scandinavia? Either way,
Hey
sorry.
bro, I'm not about to geographically embarrass myself on your show.
Yeah, me either, son. Me either. Let's drop it. But since we're talking about Young Lean, I want to say that hearing him on the Babyface Ray album was really, really,
I
really
gotta hear
cool.
it. I gotta hear it. It's
It's
next.
it's it's hard, honestly. Like that
I'm
song is
I'm
real
confident
cool.
in it because I remember seeing him on Blonde, and I was like, yeah, this makes sense. Like, especially seeing where he's like come, because I've followed his story. Like him and Lucki are people who I've followed like from conception to current, right?
Right.
And then like both of them
Those
took that
artists,
little break, that like
those
super
artists are
drug
special.
fuel, yeah, that super
Right.
drug fueled like beginning. Then like taking that little break for both, like mental health, and then Young Leans was a lot deeper with his manager passing and everything, and then
Right.
his manager's dad trying to like cancel all his projects and like called the nigga the devil. I was like, yeah, nah.
God
And
damn.
then yeah, and then he came back because then he dropped what, Warlord off of that, I think. And then
Yeah, which I wasn't a huge fan of. I
I
actually thought it
wasn't,
was. Mm,
but it's because, right, knowing the backstory behind that is because most of it was recorded in Miami, but then was it Young Good or Sherm, one of them, when they got back to I just said it, they got back to Switzerland
yeah,
to fix
Sweden.
it. Sweden, see, yeah. Hey guys, it's not my fault, it's the shrooms, I promise.
Nah, bro, we got you. It's
We
all
got back to
good.
Sweden to fix it. Some of the files, like some of the audio takes and everything, were corrupted, but like Young Lean was still on kind of like hiatus, having like just got out the mental hospital from like psychosis and everything.
Right.
And so they were having him come in and like do some like small takes to recover the corrupted files, but it's a heavily salvaged project. It's like recovered from the like wreckage type project.
See, I didn't even know all that. So that, like, I honestly want to go back and give it a try, knowing that it was kind of a,
Yeah, it
on
was
some.
like,
Oof, that's a lot.
so it was like fresh off of like all the fame. They came to Miami and they were in Miami doing it all, but they were like partying heavy, like Zans and everything. And then
Right.
his manager was high, and then he like got in the car driving, crashed it, died. And then after that, Young Lee went to like psychosis. They said he was already like on hella drugs, but then they said he said himself, because I watched part of the interview. But he said he's like started dressing up like a nurse and always carrying a knife. So like on some like Joker shit. He was kind of like walking around Miami, like fucked up the whole apartment they were staying in, had to like pay for all that shit. Um, but then yeah, he came back. His dad came to get him in Miami, and they flew him back after his like stint in the mental hospital. And he was just doing like small takes. They would get him to come into the studio, but it was really just like, yeah, because the manager's dad, because he was like partly invested in Young Lean.
Right.
He destroyed a shit ton of the files because he was like, nah, this is Satanism, this killed my son type shit. And so he
Mm-mm.
destroyed a lot of the shit. And so whatever got destroyed was kind of what they were trying to replace. So it's a real patchwork project.
Wow.
But
See
then he
that.
came off with whatever the one after that is. I forget the name, but that's the one that has agony. And that's the
It's a good song. Yeah, you're right. And then his last, one more thing about Young Lean before I run back. Fucking Stars, the last thing he put out, I really was not big on Stars. I just
I
couldn't
I
do it.
feel like the new year triple O's one triple O, yeah, triple O one like sound is super cinematic. I really appreciate what like Sherman Good have like come, because now you see their work with like the early work with Echo and Blade, but it's super
Yeah.
cinematic. Like it's really like they've gotten deep into their synth work as like compared to Ginseng Strip 2002, of course. Like it's been like
Right.
well over 10 years now, right? Um,
Maybe, yeah. If not 10 years, maybe like 11, 12, something like
yeah,
that.
right. And so they've gotten
Yeah.
like super deep in their sound, and it sounds really lush and really thought out every time, and I appreciate that. Um, and but yeah, I view it really weird because I can't tell where young Lean is as a person now,
Right.
right? And
No,
so
that's valid. That's valid.
being myself, like as somebody who puts my whole personage into my music, I kind of look for that every time. And so I'm like, I can't tell where he is as a person. So some of these songs are like, it's weird. He still has like some like random flex songs, and then he'll hit you with like a really like intimate song, and you're like, huh?
Yeah, he's a weird one. He like his like the mood and tone is all over the place, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But like you were saying about Good, like the song the song with Lean on the Babyface Ray song with Lean on it,
Yeah.
it was co-produced by Young Good and Carlo, like
Okay.
fucking like from
Oh.
Flint. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
so like like I never would have imagined putting Carlo and Good on a track together ever in my life. But
Have you
like,
ever heard the Sad Boys and like fucking Black Cray songs,
no, never,
bro?
never.
It's I feel like it's gonna be something similar to that in the styles of like, of course, Black Cray is still kind of cloud rap, but it's a darker, it's that Miami energy to it. And so I feel like I'm glad you said that because I'm gonna go into that thinking like, a similar mindset of like those songs are amazing. I think Blade, it's Blade, Cray, Lean, and Echo.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. I'll send it
Yeah.
to you after this.
Yeah, please, please. Yeah, no, I gotta hear that. But yeah, no, the song from the Ray album is real good, and just like, and like Carlo comes in with the drums, and like, and it's like Good just lays fucking like the synths over like the first half, and then just like you hear the Hank Hill drop come in. Who the hell is Carlo? And the drums. It's the most bizarre thing on that whole album. Like, but it works. It's just so good. And yes,
Yeah,
but like to what you were saying about how their sound evolved, like it evolved, like they
they've
really,
gotten super cinematic, super like
for real.
orchestral. And I like to look at like the past, right? You look at the past of like Swedish music, and it's super Swedish House Mafia, right? You get
Uh-huh.
these like really big electronic acts, but I like to see how like, well, obviously what they listen to kind of like dances along with it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you can kind of see that influence of like, okay, traditional Swedish like electronic music mixing in with obviously cloud rap, mixing in with like deeper rap, and you kind of get a feeling for like, okay, I really appreciate this. I really appreciate this from like placing myself in his shoes as a producer who has like listened to all these things. What do I want to create? What would sound good to me?
Right. Yeah, and so like I was also a really big fan of Avicii, the
Yeah,
Swedish
yeah, yeah.
producer. Yeah. I was huge into Avicii when like when he was at his like peak and shit. Like,
Yeah.
so like that was a moment in like the early to mid 2010s, like when EDM really had that vice grip on everybody. Like,
Mhm.
like between like Swedish House Mafia and Avicii and like Sander Van Dorn and Afrojack and like all that shit. Like, and
Afrojack.
like
Yeah.
back when fucking Major Lazer was still peaking and shit. Like I mean, like, fuck Diplo, but like,
But
just
no, yeah, it's still, you still gotta like factor that in, and like
yeah.
I get it, right? Yeah. I went through a small dubstep phase. It was like
Me too.
it was Skrillex and was it Kill Paris? I think it was Kill Paris.
Yeah.
It was at the time when I was using Pandora, so who it was didn't really matter.
Yeah, nah, yeah, nah. Listening to music on Pandora was different. That was literally just like shuffle that somebody else made for you, which is, we
Yeah.
love that about
I
Pandora.
was Pandora with the skull candy over the ear headphones.
Woo! That's a vibe right there. Real
Yes,
early to mid
sir.
2010s.
Yes, sir.
God damn. Did you ever listen to Zed's Dead? They were a dubstep group that I liked a lot.
I've heard something. I can't recall what era. Are they still making stuff?
I'm pretty sure like
I think
it's
I've heard
not
some newer shit.
it's like not it, like Zed's Dead's not really dubsteppy anymore, but like they had this crazy fucking song called White Satin that one of my homies back in the day put me onto, and like
Mhm.
and like and it's crazy that we're talking about this because it's another little music movie moment. So they got b- before I say where it came from, do you recognize where Zed's Dead is from?
It's from fucking Pulp Fiction.
There you go. You got it. Cool. So like on the song, like right before the first big drop, they get the clip of Bruce Willis on the bike with his wife, and
Uh,
she's like, "Where's Zed?" And he goes, "Zed's dead,
Zed's
baby."
Dead,
And then the
baby.
shit drops. This shit is beautiful. That shit is
Yeah,
serotonin. It's just
yeah.
like,
The fucking not a bike. It's not a bike, baby. It's a chopper. It's a chopper.
oh man, like that was like I'm thinking about it now, and that moment was so because like I was like a mid to late teenager when that happened. Actually, no, like I was like 18, 19. So like that was like that moment is so pivotal to my understanding of the way that music and film can like
Yeah,
just
I've been
explode. Like,
through.
oh
I've been
God,
through
what a moment!
Pulp Fiction a few times. I've been through Kill Bill a few times. I've seen Jackie Brown like twice.
That's my
Um,
favorite. That's my favorite Tarantino movie.
it is one of the better ones, and I'm surprised it's not more popular. It is definitely one of the
Mm-hmm.
better ones.
Me
Reservoir
too.
Dogs. I've been through Reservoir Dogs twice. I
Yeah,
just
good
really
movie.
appreciate the non-linear editing.
Yeah, like yeah, like he wasn't the first person to do that,
Not definitely not.
but he was definitely, like he popularized so much shit,
I
and
know
like
you've seen all those posts that are like Quentin Tarantino films are just frame for frame from other movies.
yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, like, yes,
The
like,
collage
he's
artist.
more or less like he's yeah, like somebody called him like a remix, like
Yeah.
a film director who's like really a remixer, and like yeah, that's what he is. And like sometimes that's great, and sometimes it's like really pretentious and it gets on my nerves, but like the good stuff is good. Like I like Pulp Fiction. I think Pulp
Yeah.
Fiction is great. I love Jackie Brown. I love the Kill Bill movies. I love Inglorious Bastards.
I think it's
um
a very rare case of even though his a Tarantino movie when you see it, I think his casting is just so superior that the actors literally save you from having to face too like much of the consequences of like, yes, this is a Tarantino film. This is also a great film. Like,
yeah,
if it was just like mediocre film, then like okay, like it's Tarantino, I can throw it out. But like
right.
he really just cast such great actors, you just gotta be like, he did it
see
again.
see
Damn
that
you.
that's kind of how I felt about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, because I'm not really a big, like, it's interesting because like, well, have you seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
No.
Okay.
I used to be a big Leonardo DiCaprio fan. Um, but then I kind of realized that like I guess I got over it. And then yeah, that was then Once Upon a Time it came out and I was like I just remember the compilation of all the foot shots.
Yeah, the Dakota Fanning with her feet up on the table, and
Yeah.
homegirl in the car with her
How
feet
they
up on the
say he
dash. Yeah.
dedicates whole storyboards thoughts to it.
Oh yeah, I believe it, because like there's a bit in Inglorious Bastards. Have you seen Bastards?
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. So you remember the scene where Hans Landa and Bridget von Hammersmark in the or there in the cut away from the party, and he's like trying to get her to take her shoe off so he can do the fit, and
Yeah.
yeah, like he just lingers so long on like not even just like the naked foot, but like the cast. And it's like, bro, like we get it. like even just the cast, and like one of my favorite parts of that whole movie is when he is when like she's trying to like play her way out of uh taking her foot off, and like there's just like a sideways shot of Hans Landa looking off to the side and at her, and without breaking eye contact, he just looks at her, and just his hand like swings up and just points right down to his knee. And he's just like, put that shit on my lap right now, and that shit makes me laugh every single time. Like it's just that's an like like the cast in that movie just immaculate. Like
Yeah,
that's a
definitely.
perfect movie to me. I love Inglorious Bastards. Like that and Jackie Brown are his two. Like I
Yeah,
feel the same way about Jackie Brown. Those are my two Tarantino movies if I had to pick them.
for sure.
We
Um,
just we just went through a lot. Wow.
look,
Like
I'm gonna ask you a question at the end. Yeah.
yeah,
So whenever you're ready to wrap it up, just let me know.
got you.
But
I let me see. I think I got a couple more. Oh yeah. Okay. So yeah, we were talking about Dwunk, and we can move on to Blacklight. Actually, because I listened to Blacklight for the first. Like I won't lie, I listened to Blacklight for the first time today,
no,
and
no sweat.
I really liked it. It's like it's so like if like I feel like it has more energy, but it's like no less somber than Dwunk. Like it's still kind of like reflective. Like to me, it almost feels like you're like directly confronting the feelings that you might have been like running away from with all the drinking on Dwunk. Like they like the two pieces like they kind of feel like they're in conversation. I don't know if that was intentional. Like was that intentional? Like were they kind of meant to talk to each other, or am I just like making threads where they don't exist?
Bro, if you're trying to make me fall in love with you, it's working. Thank you for your attention to detail. Bro, literally it comes directly off it, right? I was like, I did a birthday project. I got to do another birthday project. So shout out to Amwa. Shout out to my other Mike, my other Mikey, um, my twin, my little brother. We share the same birthday, August 30th. Same day as Fred Hampton, same day as BK the Ruler.
Hey,
Um,
hey, wow, legends only.
um, and so, but yeah, we put this project together with another case. And just like sending me beats, and I request like a few vibes, and they're like, oh yeah, something like this, cool, right? So same circumstances, but this time I threw in some beats of my own, and it was just kind of like songs I put together, and eventually it was like, all right, let me weave together the common thread I know is there. But it's definitely a callback to like, yeah, I was drinking, but this is at the time of my birthday. Like I said, everything that I made last year was reflective of the year before. So the year before for me, I would have dropped Black Boys Look Blue in the Moonlight, which Flowers apparently just listened to for his Gary, shout Gary is doing the
Yeah, shout out to Gary.
yeah, doing the
Music
new
writing exercise, yeah.
yeah, exactly. So but Flowers listened to that, posted it today. But I did that for my birthday the year before, and it was just like me getting out there, right? Um, and so that's also why I'm so mad. So me and Cheyenne drafted up two covers. Both of them I took the pictures for. One was here in Virginia, and it was just like a picture of the water, and it was my dad was showing my brother how to float. And mind you, all my siblings are like mad younger than me. I'm 20. Um, my my brother beneath me is 8. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And then my sister above him, who lives with my mom, is 12. We're 8 years apart. And then my youngest sister who lives here is 5. Um, but yeah, my dad's showing my brother how to float, and I just took the picture. I was standing on the beach, and I sent it off to Shay, and she drew me the same character you see floating just in the middle of the water. She drew some sun rays in, and I threw it in some of the promotional tweets, but fucking fuck distro kid. Um, they wouldn't take it because they were like, it's too blurry. I'm like,
Uh-uh.
okay, whatever. But yeah, that was the second version of it, and that was also a callback to Black Boys Look Blue in the Moonlight. It's just a picture of me. We had this pool, quote unquote, in the backyard that was just like a big ass a horse feeding trough that we filled with water and built a deck around it. I took that
Right.
picture in there on my 18th birthday, and I posted it with the project, and that was the cover. Because Black Boys Look Blue in the Moonlight, that floating scene. Um, and so like they were both playing in the water. And that movie itself hits real close to home because literally it was filmed close to where I was born. So it's all
Right, yeah, yeah, because that's like all Florida, right?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Right. And I
yeah,
was born in Miami. I'm used to that part of the beach too. And so it was just like all tied together, even all the way from just the cover art itself that I tried to put together. But the other one we got was in Savannah, and it became Blacklight because at the time Mikey was going by Black Kenshi. So I just mashed the two names together, Blacklight, cool. But then he changed it, and I was like, well, nah, it's still a Blacklight, right? It's
yeah.
still
Right.
the little poem I have at the end is real reflective of you gotta bear your sins. You gotta be real with yourself. That's the only way you can really like get the work done. Not too long ago, I tweeted like, bro, listen to these two projects, listen to Drunk, listen to Blacklight, put them together, do you. Matter of fact, the day we talked about doing this podcast, I tweeted it. Because I was on my way back from
Oh
Philly. I
man.
remember it. And I was like, listen to these two. You know, I was like, damn, I just quit my job. Fuck that job. Um, I don't know. Listen to these two, do your shadow work, and like be real with yourself. Like that's
Right.
it. Take a look inside, and that's all it was. It was me like really being like, where do I fail? Where do I become better? Because I was like fresh, fresh off of a breakup, coming into this new relationship, into a poly dynamic, and so I was like, it was this transitional period in my life, especially like as it was like, you know, reflecting into itself. So I was telling people like, just be real. And so I'm listening back to Blacklight at that time, and I'm like, yeah, this is what I needed then, because it definitely was just like being real, being reflective, and it all tied together. Because just a few days before I had to submit it, I went to my friend's like birthday party. They threw it like a hotel, and it was like right by the beach. So I got like shit face drunk. And then they went down to the beach to smoke, and I just woke up on the beach at like 3 a.m. like drunk as hell. But like I just kind of sat there for a moment, like looking at the stars, looking at the water, and I was like, yeah, where I belong, right here on the beach, nigga. It's perfect. So I went home and I recorded like the rest of that outro. I recorded it on my phone. I was like, bro, I don't know. Like I woke up on the beach today and I was worried about like and this was like way before the Philly trip, way before I quit my job and everything. But I was still coming off of that breakup and I was like, I was worried about being alone, bro. I was worried about dying alone. I was worried about like a lot of shit for I was still 20, right? But
Right.
20, right? Why am I worried about this, right? Woke up on the beach. I was
Yeah.
like, nah, it's cool, bro. It's okay. Like, it's all okay, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm doing the work I need to do for myself, and that's good.
Right. Like at this point, that's all you really need, you know? Like you're
Mhm.
you got like I know you got way more gas in the tank. Like it's like it like just like
Hey, we
talking to
going
you, it's
crazy.
just yeah, for real. Like and it's like just talking to you, it's just like blowing my mind. Just like you're 20, you know, like like because like I'm about to be 30 in like a month and change, March 18th. Like you know, like we're almost an entire fucking decade apart, you know. And
Yeah,
like just to hear you say these things, like you got time, man. Like we all got time, but like it's just this is like I can tell that you're just getting started, and like this is like you're so confident in yourself, and that's amazing to me because like I feel like that's been a theme for me for the last like 3-4 days because I went to go see Red Veil play his first show ever in Brooklyn
oh, I'm
on
so sad I
Saturday.
had to miss it, bro.
Oh
I'm so
man.
sad I had to miss it.
Oh
I
man.
just I didn't feel comfortable having to go all the way to New York, especially on funds and with Omicron. I was like,
I get it, bro. I get it. It was the first show I've done. I was real reckless. I went to that Playboy Cardi show at Barclays in December, like right
that's the
when
one you risked it
Omicron.
for.
Yeah, it
That's
was worth it. It was
I
worth
went to go
it.
see I went to go see Peggy and the Loopers
Ah,
in
in Brooklyn.
October.
Damn, I wanted
No,
to
no,
go
no,
to that.
in Philly.
Okay, okay. Man, see, like I've seen Peggy a bunch of times. I've seen Z
First
Loopers
time.
maybe for oh, how'd you like it? How was it?
So that was when I first met my partner. Like we were talking before that. That's when we first linked up, and
Ah,
we were
cool.
we were both on acid, and it was, sheesh. I was in that bitch melting, my nigga. I understood Peggy. You know, like he's just playing like a wrestling heel.
Yeah, more or less. He's a lot
He's he's
sometimes,
the he's
but
the queer coded wrestling heel.
yeah, he really, really is. Like I've been thinking about that a lot ever since he like really started to lean into Peggy. I'm like, you
He's the
know,
he's the
like
queer coded wrestling heel. He's like I remember was it Taxi Driver, Hurricane, um like what's the one dude? Gold Dust.
oh, Gold Dust. Oh man, you're taking
You
me
know,
back
he
right
just
now.
feels like, and sometimes he plays the boogeyman. Feels really lucid. He feels like lurching. He's like grabbing his shit. That's how he was at the show. He was like, I was off to the left, like over by the speaker, and the pit was just full of white people. Ugh.
Yeah, of course.
It was just full of white people because I was like, I ain't really trying to march because I had other people with me, and I was also on acid, and I was like, I ain't trying to get too crazy, but
Right.
I was right there at the barrier still, and I was like, nah, this is great. I can see him fine. Um, yeah, he was just kind of he was in the moment. He felt it. Like that's what I love to see. I love to see
Hmm.
people who are just like you said, there's a tie between movies and music, but there's also just a tie like that goes beyond the music, you know?
Yeah.
Anything deeper than just saying the words into a mic in a way that's convincing is like you can feel whatever he says he felt it. Um
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. I've seen Peggy, I want to say 3 times. My partner and
Mhm.
I saw him at MoMA, the little
Mm,
summer series they do. And
mhm.
then yeah, and then we saw him play again in Brooklyn at Rough Trade when Rough Trade was still in Brooklyn. And then I feel like I'm missing. Oh yeah, I saw him play at Bowery Ballroom when he put out All My Heroes Are
Mm,
Cornballs. And
yeah.
like
I feel like this is definitely peak era for Peggy. Like just as far as like artistry goes. Because I think all the music is great, but I think just as far as
mm,
artistry goes, like as personal as it gets, really, even if it's like I don't think Peggy has ever been a like autobiographical artist, really, but
yeah, not really.
it feels emotionally personal. Everything feels
Yeah.
tied.
Right. Yeah, there were a lot of barbs on that last album, and not even just like the Arm and Hammer shit. Just like you could tell, like
Ah.
there was a lot of there was a lot of there was just a lot of animosity that I felt like he needed to let out, and not even just in like his like typical like snarky type of way. Like you could tell that he had some shit he needed to get off his chest. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've been feeling myself as I get deeper into the quote unquote scene, right? As you get closer to like other artists, you just kind of get the understanding of like who lies where. It feels very
Yeah.
weird. It feels like because like I said, at the end of the day, everybody is just some niggas, right? Like
Right.
um nobody is above me because they've been in this shit. Like, okay, you get some like respect because you've been in this shit longer, but nobody's like above me, you know? Like nobody's below me. Some niggas make worse music, some niggas make better music, some niggas in it for different reasons, but it's you know, it doesn't matter like at what point you got into it. Um Motives can change any day. Like niggas is still some niggas. The same way I be dealing with emotions, the same way they gotta wake up and deal with emotions.
Yeah. Nah, that's so real. Like, I'm happy we went in this direction because I had a bunch of other like bullshit questions that I'm happy I didn't ask.
Hey,
I think like this is a much better way to kind of like end this.
listen, I'm all
But
for the bullshit questions too, because I'll take them wherever. But you know,
yeah, like yeah, like I was just gonna, like in like typical wrap up fashion, just like, just like you've been dropping music for probably about like I think it's been about 5 years. That's when five dropped, right? Like five was like 2017.
oh my god, did you go back that far?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah,
That was
bro.
like that was like freshman year of high school. A $35 mic in my dad's living room. And I'd been making music, or I'd been like mixing stuff for church for a while, but I still didn't have a like the knowledge to transfer it to like personal recordings, you know? It was
Right.
just ripped YouTube beats. That's when I was like active on Genius. Like I'm still a Genius mod. Not active at all, but I'm still a Genius mod. I was just telling my homie about when I was a mediator, I started these threads that were like stand behind your bars. And it was basically like
Yeah.
YouTube comments without the beats. And so that's what I started. That was my contribution to the Genius intergenius community.
Wow.
Fuck Genius though.
Wow. That's wow, that's just like such a specific vibe and time. Like from five slash like genius mod era to
Mm-hmm.
now with the new shit you're recording, like how do you feel you've grown between then and now? Like
Oh
How?
man.
Yeah, it's such an open-ended question, but I'm just like so curious because you got a
Well, no.
really interesting story.
Yeah, it's so weird because like I always tell people I feel like I've lived like 1,000 lives, even just within this life. Like I tweeted just earlier and I had to delete it because I don't know if people understood what I was saying. It was like I woke up thinking about my husband and kids era. Like I dead moved out at 18 and was living with my partner at the time. And then we had like a dog and a cat and we were just chilling. Like, that was it. I went to work. I came home. I barely even made music. Like, and this was after I had already started dropping music. And so I was like, I was really content for that like a month. And then shit came crashing down. But then when I look back at it, I was like, whoa, that was just a month? Like everything feels so elongated and stretched out, like, but it's weird because at the same time, I'll be like, well, I'm 20 and I'm not 18 anymore.
they
Like
only they only move faster. That's all I'm gonna say. Every year,
time is
just
just so goopy and malleable for me, bro. I don't even know. Maybe it's the drugs. I'm worried about like brain injuries from like playing football early. Like I don't even know anymore. Everything just feels so weird. So to say like where I've grown, I've had to face like adulthood. I've had to face like paying bills. I've had to face like a sick partner. And I mean like sick as shit. Like he couldn't walk at some points because of how weak his muscles were. And
wow.
like I wasn't even creating through that. So like that I had to come back to like trying to like express that like just this past year of like the feelings I was feeling then. Um and it was just like, yeah, I don't how have I grown, man? I've done so much shadow work and change to be like who I am now. And I'm happy where I am now, really. Like today was a crazy day, but like I've been feeling so much better just in terms about like yeah, shit's really looking up. Like I'm good, I'm up. Um I'm just tapped in with so many cool people, building my personal community, personal relationships. It's just nice, for real.
Yeah, like now I can say you definitely can ask for more than that. Like especially the community
Exactly.
aspect, like that's the best. Like,
Yeah.
yo,
Yeah.
I don't got any more questions,
All
but
right. Let me ask my
you,
one question then.
yeah, ask me a question,
you
anything.
always you always sum up your episodes like, okay, we talked about this and that. So off the top of your head right now, what's the sum up of this episode?
So I'm gonna say probably, man, I'm gonna have to hold myself to this and shit.
No, no, no. Look,
Damn,
if you
no,
change it
no,
afterwards, go ahead. But just in the moment right now, right? We're on the shrooms. I'm on the shrooms.
yeah.
We're in the moment. We're flowing. What do you remember? What was the most poignant parts of this episode? What do you feel about Light now?
So we talked we talked about Bebop, we talked about Dwunk, we talked about shit. Bebop, Dwunk, fucking, oh, we talked about so much great shit too. And let's like and like dubstep and goddamn man, I'm just like I'm gonna remember so much after we get off too, and I'm gonna be so
Yeah.
mad at myself that I just like I'm
No,
forgetting
look,
everything right now.
I know it's a lot, and I throw so much information at people, and I feel bad for rambling. I don't know if I'm autistic. I do truly feel like I am at this point in my life, but like I throw so much at people and then not say anything for the next 2 to 4 business weeks. Got
Oh,
shit else to say.
we all what's it called? We talked about fucking Young Lean and the Sad Boys and
Oh, yes.
goddamn
I talked
yeah.
about anything. Let it be Young Lean and Lucky.
Yeah, shout out to Lead and Lucky. And yeah, and just like we talked about a ton, and this was like, you know, this was so tight. Like this was great. Like this was like, nah, I had this was fantastic, son. Thank you for taking the time,
Listen,
especially after like a shitty fucking work day. Like,
it was a terrible
damn.
day, but we let the shrooms talk, let the art talk, and that's all it's ever about. It's about talking it through. It's about doing your shadow work. And like you said, you gonna remember when you go back. That's all it's about too. Being able to look back at that shit and be like, oh, I see where I fucked up. I see where I could have did better. And then doing it. going
Right.
forward with your life from there. It's the great shit. That's all I ever want from an interaction with Light, from the music to like in person to phone call. It's it. I
Yeah,
want you, I want you to do better. Everybody involved in this next project, I'm like, bro, I'm asking you to come from the bottom of your heart, and I'm asking you to come the hardest you ever come. I might be tough on you, might send the shit back to you, but I want you to be better from having dealt with me.
right. And yeah, like I feel like I want to go get better, even if it's just for the sake of my short-term memory.
Listen,
And just like,
Gambino willed himself into a sex symbol. I've willed myself into light.
fuck it. Like, nah, that's it. And you're gonna be here, and just like, thank you for taking the time to do this. This was great. This was so dope.
Thank you for having me, bro.
For real.
Thanks for listening. Shout out to y'all for making it this far. And shout out to all the black people listening too, because y'all really impeccable. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell a friend to come through next time. 1.